This is a demonstration of the subtractive color light box. There are actually two methods of mixing color. There's additive mixing of colors, and then there's subtractive mixing of colors. In additive mixing of colors, typically as happens in monitors, different colors are added together to form pure white light, such as red, green, and blue. In subtractive color, which is more of a common traditional form of mixing color, we start out with pure white light, and then we actually subtract out certain colors, such as red, for instance, perhaps followed by yellow, forming colors such as orange. This is common to any sort of printed materials, as well as mixing paints, for instance. We can say mix blue together with red and make purple, or blue and yellow and make green. We start out with the three primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, and from different combinations of those colors we can actually cover a wide visual spectrum. The subtractive color light box is pretty simple. Here we just have this lid that you can take off here, and you can see that there's actually 5 different filters here. There's a little display stand in the back, and take a little closer look inside here. You can see I've come up with these little dividers here, which just serve as channels for the frames to sit in. Actually, take a couple of them out here. There's the red filter, and it's followed by the green filter. Then there is a blue filter. There's a yellow filter, and lastly there's an orange filter. And again, we combine these filters to illustrate how we can mix colors subtractively. Construction of these is pretty simple. It's just basically a 4-sided frame, a couple pieces of mat board, and those 2 pieces of mat board are actually trapping a piece of acetate here, just a color piece of acetate. And then there's just these little turn buttons here, which actually are trapping the piece of mat board here. You can certainly just permanently glue these in. I just came up with this method so I can possibly see about perhaps coming up with some different combinations, so I can actually take these out if I wanted to. Put in some different filters, place these with different ones. And there's also a 1/2-inch diameter hole here. That's where the light's going to project out. There's also a 1-inch diameter hole on the other side, and this is where the flashlight here is projecting. There's a little display stand here, which this will allow the color to be projected on. Just take that out so we can get a better look at the flashlight here. Because the flashlight is right in here. As you can see, about an inch of it is projecting into the box. We just press this little button here, and that turns on the flashlight. Just press it again, and that turns off the flashlight. If you ever need to replace the batteries, you can certainly just unscrew this end here, and that allows you to take out the battery compartment and replace those. And again, there's also this little display stand here, which where the light will just project onto that, and again it fits in the box here for transportation. The box itself was pretty easy to construct. It's just basically this little piece of a few pieces of this black felt material, which I created the box out of. I decorated the outside with some mat board, and then again I created the dividers and created slots for the frames, which are on the inside. The subtractive color light box also has a little base here with another frame, and the box itself actually works best in dim lighting. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the light, and then you get a sense of how the filters work together and how they project onto this screen here to give us an idea of how colors mix subtractively. Alright, so I'm going to ahead and dim the lights now. Actually, I have the flashlight turned on here, so we're starting out with pure white light. I'm going to go ahead and start adding in some of the filters so we can start to get an idea of how the different color combinations produce a number of the different colors that we're familiar with. One thing to keep in mind during this demonstration is the camera has a limited spectrum as far as the colors go, so some of these colors may not read as accurately as they would in person. For instance, the purple is actually more of a true indigo in person, and here it's a little bit more towards the blue side. But I'm going to go ahead and take my red filter, and I'm going to go and insert into the first slot. Again, there are these number of different slots within the inside of the box here, and I'm going to go ahead and feed that into the first one, changing the color of the light here to the red tone. To that, I'm actually going to add a yellow-orange filter, or more towards the yellow side. As we know, red and yellow combine together to produce orange. The two primary colors producing a secondary color. And there is our orange. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the red filter out of the first slot, and we can see the yellow by itself. And again, with the red filter, brings us back to the orange. I'm going to take out the yellow filter, bring us back to our red, and to that I'm going to add the blue filter. And as we know, red and blue mix together to make purple. Again, we have two primary colors mixing to produce a secondary color. And there is the purple. Now if I take out the red filter here, you can see the blue by itself. And again, with the red, we have our purple tone. Now, let me go ahead and take the red out here. Again, take the yellow-orange filter. Blue, as we know, mixes with yellow to produce green. Again, another secondary color. And here's our green tone. And again, taking out the blue filter, we can see our yellow filter again. And then combined together, we have our green. Now, to make things more interesting, I can add filters to the third slot. Add a yellow, creating a hit more of a yellow-green. And to the fourth slot, I can actually add the green filter, and that will produce a slightly more traditional green tone. Again, this is a hair bit more yellow, and definitely much more towards the green side. Now, if I take out, say, that last green filter and add the red filter, green and red are actually complementary to one another. They're opposite each other on the color wheel. So the two are going to neutralize one another and produce either a brown or a gray tone. In this case, we actually produce a brown tone, slightly warm brown. So, again, demonstrating, first mixing primary colors to produce secondary colors. Here, demonstrating mixing complementary colors. And again, we take out that red filter, and we have our green back. And certainly I can do the same here. Take out this yellow-orange filter, bring us back to the blue tone, throw in the red filter to bring us back to purple, and then to this I'm going to throw in the yellow-orange filter, and that will, again, yellow-purple are opposite one another on the color wheel, so they're complementary, so they're going to neutralize one another, again producing that brown tone. Okay, so that's that combination. Again, you can certainly just use the red filter and green filter by itself to demonstrate that idea of complementary colors. And this is much more of a neutral tone. And I can certainly create a number of different combinations with these filters. play around with different possibilities. Again, this is even more of a brown tone. Again, sticking in the brown family. Give you an idea if you throw in all the filters. You create this very dim gray tone. And again, the more filters we're adding here, the more white light we're subtracting out. Sort of equivalent to mixing all the colors when we're painting and getting closer and closer to black. And you can play around with taking out, say, for instance, the red filter, brings us back to a green tone. Take out a few more of these filters here. We can bring it back to yellow. And then taking out all the filters, of course, brings us back to our white light. So again, this is the Subtractive Color light box, giving you some ideas of some demonstrations for theories of mixing of color subtractively. Again, starting with our white light, adding various combinations of filters as we would when we're, say, mixing paint to create secondary colors, complementary colors, tertiary colors. Thank you, and that's the end of the demonstration.